This morning on Oregon Sports, Duck fans pack Autzen Stadium for the annual spring game. We'll have highlights and post-game reactions, plus a number of former Ducks players hear their name in the NFL draft. Who heard their name get called? Full breakdown coming up.
Diamond Sports regular season is coming to an end. Oregon softball and baseball making one final push as postseason approaches. Runners laced it up for the annual Eugene Marathon. Reporter Sophie Fowler takes us through her track around the Willamette Valley. All that plus more on today's show.
Good morning, welcome to Oregon Sports. I'm Ashley Davidson.
And I'm Lucas Van Arnhem. Ducks fans got their first look at the 2026 Oregon football squad at the annual spring game on Saturday.
A lot of runners, returners, and also new faces for the Combat and Fighting Ducks. To kick us off today, return to Max Regal for the highlights. Max?
Thank you, Ashley. The spring game for Oregon football marked a huge day for the program and fans who made the trip. Saturday gave us our first look at next season's roster with some competition for spots in the depth chart. We get started in the first quarter with the Combat Ducks in black and the Fighting Ducks in white. Dante Moore hits Jamari Johnson in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. Johnson was fourth on the team in yards last season with 510, second in receptions in that tight end room behind Kenyon Sadiq. We also got our first look at Dylan Raiola, the Nebraska transfer quarterback, hits Evan Stewart down the right sideline for the touchdown. Stewart missed last season with a torn patellar tendon. You're going to hear more on that story here in a second. But Duck fans, really good to see him back in the lineup. We also got our first look at freshman quarterback Akili Smith Jr., son of Oregon legend Akili Smith. He makes a good throw on the run right here, but an even better pass breakup by Trey McNutt. And it was Decorian Moore in the final seconds that put this game away with the go-ahead touchdown. 17-10, the Combat Ducks get the win. We're going to go ahead and take a look at sports reporter Tyson Palatichuk, who has a look at a comeback story and what it means.
It's been a few months since we've seen our friend the Duck here at Autzen Stadium. It's been even longer since we've seen Evan Stewart. Today, he showed the people of Eugene what they've been missing.
It has been a long road to recovery for Stewart, who last took the field in December of 2024. Looking to be one of the nation's top wideouts in 2025, a torn patellar tendon sidelined him for the entirety of the season. Flash forward to his first drive of the spring game, and he picked up right where he left off.
Stewart is gone.
I never really worked on my weaknesses. I would say when I sat for this past year, it allowed me to tone in on those, not physically because I wasn't able to move. So I got to look at other players that had things that I needed to work on. And that's really just been the whole mindset, like work on your weaknesses. And if I turn the weaknesses into strengths and I have no weaknesses, ooh-wee.
Stewart was second in receiving on the day with 4 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown. With more volume coming his way in the regular season, the sky is the limit for Oregon's premier pass catcher.
You know, it's just today was his day for sure. You know, the fans and everybody missed, you know, how much impact he has on our team. But overall, he's just someone that, you know, has been dedicated to to his craft, and it for sure showed out today.
As spring training wraps up, Evan Stewart once again projects to be one of the top receivers in the nation, not only giving the offense a boost, but the team's national championship hopes as well.
Yeah, this has been Evan's best spring since I've been here. I'm really excited about the growth. I think, you know, when you have something that's not there for a while and you don't get the opportunity to do it, you're really hungry when you come back. And I've seen the maturity from him. I've seen him really level up in execution and be a guy that we can count on this spring.
Summer and then fall camp await the Ducks and Evan Stewart as they prepare for next season. With Oregon News, I'm Tyson Palatichuk.
Thank you, Tyson. Spring game doesn't just mean football at Autzen Stadium. Fans also got the chance to take part in some special festivities, including a flyover and military appreciation ceremony post-game.
Also, the annual Food for Lane County Drive. Alexandria Lopez spoke with organizers at Autzen about one of the biggest food collection drives of the year.
Fans attending Oregon football spring game donated non-perishable items to Food for Lane County as their ticket into Autzen Stadium.
A bunch of schools across the nation were doing a food drive, and so it was natural for Food for Lane County and the University of Oregon to partner up, and I believe U of O is actually one of the last schools that is still doing the food drive piece for the spring game.
On average, the program pulls in about 30,000 pounds of food from game day fans. When it first launched, donations were even higher, but those numbers have slipped a bit over time. Here are more ways you can make a difference.
So for every $1 donated, we can distribute 2 meals back into the community. You can also donate food, like through food drives like today, and so that provides a lot of variety into what we're able to distribute, which is really just amazing to get to put that out into pantries and into people who need support and assistance. Volunteering is huge for us. Volunteers provide over 30 full-time FTE equivalent staff, so it's really just beneficial to us to be able to have the person power because it's something that we can't always provide with paid staff.
With Oregon News, I'm Alexandria Lizardo.
Thank you, Alexandria. The next time students are at Autzen Stadium, there will be a new ticket system, something students have been begging for years. Say hello to a new ticket system for fall 2026.
The Associated Students of the University of Oregon and the Athletics Department have partnered to change the lottery-based ticket distribution system introduced in September 2025. The new system introduces a weighted priority model based on class standing for the upcoming football season. ASUO launched a campaign after hearing and receiving multiple messages from students who said they were not big fans of the new system.
And it was because we were getting a ton of emails, and we heard about the petition that was going around of students just being really dissatisfied that university athletics took the old system, which was a online queue, first come, first serve, to a random lottery. And what students were most upset about is that they were not notified of this change before selling the sports pass.
ASUO built its campaign primarily through survey collection. Throughout the fall term, ASUO gathered data from different sporting events and collected more than 600 survey responses. Students shared what they wanted to see in a different system. ASUO then presented its findings to the head of athletics to discuss what changes were feasible. The athletics department responded with proposals including a weighted system based on seniority and a student-to-student marketplace for tickets. ASUO raised concerns about the current distribution system and continue to advocate for change.
Because a big concern students had was that students were selling tickets on platforms like Snapchat, which isn't very safe because they're giving and selling their Duck ID data to random students and sometimes even non-students. So those are the two changes that were made, and we're really, really grateful for UO Athletics partnering with us on this and all the students that filled out our survey.
The new Sports Pass is now on sale for current students. Students should have received an email in their inbox starting Friday the 24th. Be sure to check your email if you plan to take advantage of the new system. Autzen wasn't the only packed house this weekend. Both Diamond Sports were at home and Max. Pretty good weekend, right?
It was a very good weekend, to say the least. The 19th ranked Oregon baseball team put together a complete weekend at PK Park, sweeping Penn State in a 3-game series. Game 1 turned into Oregon's favor thanks to a clutch late inning rally. Freshman Braden Jackson hit a double before junior Maddox Maloney drove in the tying run, and Oregon got the go-ahead run in the 8th inning before reliever Tanner Bradley sealed the 4-5 win, striking out 5 of his last 6 batters faced. Game 2 brought even more drama. The Ducks gave up 4 runs in the first inning, but the pitching staff shut down Penn State the rest of the way, and in the 10th inning, Jack Brooks drew that bases-loaded walk to walk it off in front of a near-sellout home crowd. And in the series finale, 5 Oregon pitchers combined for a 5-hit shutout. Catcher Berkeley Mabius racked up 3 extra base hits with a home run, and the sweep moved Oregon to 32-11 on the season as they continue to climb up the Big Ten standings. Oregon softball also took care of business over the weekend. The number 14th ranked Oregon softball team squared off with the Ohio State Buckeyes for the final home weekend at Jane Sanders Stadium. On Friday, the Ducks were shut out for just the 2nd time this year. It was their first shutout at home, and it put their 14-straight Big Ten series winning streak in jeopardy. Lucky for them, the offense exploded, taking Saturday's game 13-6. And on Senior Sunday, the Ducks saw great pitching from Lindsey Grine and Taylor Spencer. The two kept the Buckeyes scoreless on just 1 base hit, and the offense clicked for 9 runs. Emma Cox hit her 3rd home run of the weekend. Kaylin Jones took one off the scoreboard. Amari Harper also homered in a 9-0 run rule win. The Ducks now head to Los Angeles to take on number 7 UCLA for a series that could decide the Big Ten regular season champion next week.
Thank you, Max. After a busy home stretch for Oregon athletics, many Duck teams are hitting the road this week. Coming up, Gabriella Vigil is in the studio and will give us a look at the weather, where Oregon teams are playing, and what you should pack when we return.
Adding your own flavor to fashion comes with age.
Okay, Dad, look at you.
Yeah, welcome. Hi.
Forgetting how to add doesn't. Finding it difficult to work with numbers may be a sign of Alzheimer's.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. but you can escape. Take the 1-minute pre-diabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
There's nothing like celebrating a big play. But now, we're celebrating something bigger than sports.
Love, your mind.
Love?
Your mind.
You're training your mind as much as you're training your body.
For me, just stay grounded. Be with the people who make my mental health better and not worse.
So when you see us hit this, it's a reminder to
love
your mind.
Welcome back to Oregon Sports. I'm Gabriella Vigil with your fan forecast. The Ducks are all over the Pacific Northwest this week, traveling from Washington all the way down to Arizona. It's a big weekend for men's golf. They're headed to North Plains for the Big Ten Championships. And honestly, you couldn't ask for better conditions. We're looking at mostly sunshine all week with temperatures in the 60s and 70s. No rain and light winds around 2 to 5 miles per hour. So no blaming the wind if it's not landing in the fairway. Moving on to baseball, they're up at UW this week, and it's shaping up to be a dry week in Seattle. Highs climb into the low 70s with overnight lows in the upper 40s. By Sunday, we could see wind gusts pick up to around 15 miles per hour. Softball is headed to UCLA this weekend, and it's looking like a mostly sunny week with just a little cloud coverage on Thursday. Temperatures stay right around the 70s, and overnight lows dip into the 50s. Overall, beautiful conditions for the game, but UV levels will be very high, so don't forget your sunscreen. Track and field is on the move this week with multiple stops, including Stanford on Friday for the Peyton Jordan Invitational. Leading up to the meet, it's looking like clear skies with highs in the low 70s and overnight lows in the upper 40s to low 50s. Friday shapes up to be mostly sunny around 68 degrees. Pretty much perfect conditions. By Saturday, we see some clouds move in with mid-60s temperatures, but the sunshine returns to wrap up the weekend. Track and field is also at the OSU High Performance Meet Friday and Saturday. It's a mostly cloudy stretch overall with temperatures in the mid-60s to low 70s. We'll catch a few breaks of sunshine on Wednesday and again on Sunday with overnight lows staying in the 40s. Friday looks mostly cloudy around 69 degrees. Saturday cools slightly in the mid-60s. Then sunshine comes back Sunday with about a 10-degree warm-up. Track and field wraps up the week in Tucson, Arizona for the Desert Heat Classic on Saturday. It's a bit of a mixed forecast. We start the week mostly sunny with highs in the low 80s, but midweek clouds move in, bringing showers on Thursday and Friday. There's even a slight chance of thunderstorms Friday as temperatures sit around 79 degrees, but it clears out just in time for the meet. Saturday is looking mostly sunny with highs near 85 degrees. Overnight lows range from the mid-50s to mid-60s throughout the week. And if you're staying local this weekend, it's looking beautiful in Eugene. Today brings mostly sunny skies with a high around 65 degrees. We'll see more sunshine midweek before clouds move in late week, with temperatures ranging from the mid-60s to low 70s. The sun returns Sunday with highs around 75 degrees. Overnight lows stay in the 40s all week long. And that's your fan forecast. Plenty of great conditions to catch the Ducks in action this week. Up next, Sophie Fowler trades the newsroom for the race course at the Eugene Half Marathon. Stay tuned.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire, and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
No sé qué pasó. I didn't even drink that much.
Losing the fear of looking foolish comes with age.
Who did you steal him from?
Losing your way in your own home doesn't. Confusion with time and place may be a sign of Alzheimer's.
Mom, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's.
It's been 20 years since the inaugural Eugene Marathon, and each year since, thousands of runners have flocked to Tracktown, USA to compete and have the glorious finish at Hayward Field.
Sunday was no different. Racers came out in full force, including our very own reporter, Sophie Fowler, who made it into the studio somehow after running that half marathon. Sophie, congrats on finishing. What was it like running out there with everyone?
It was incredible to be out there running. I was one of 10,000 people who crossed the finish line at Hayward Field in the sold-out race. According to Everyday Health, less than 1% of the world's population runs marathons and half marathons every year. And yesterday, I was one of the 1%.
Every year, Tracktown USA overflows with people coming into Eugene to have an opportunity to run inside the famous Hayward Field. Taking a closer look, I was one of those people. Growing up, my mom was a big runner, and weekends would be spent cheering her on. As I got older, I caught the running bug, and I entered my first half marathon last year in Eugene, Oregon. I was determined to run this half marathon again, but differently. My goal was to be faster, stronger, and run the whole thing. And I did just that.
I'm really proud of myself and what I did. I PR'd by like 8 minutes, which is amazing. I am proud of how I finished, but I should have sprinted a little bit later.
The course gives an insight into the city of Eugene, and each mile has a different challenge, like the big hill at mile 7 where my shins started hurting. However, the community around running at each mile drowns out the noise of doubts and pain, from people cheering to signs and even cowbells. My favorite part of the race wasn't the medal or the finish line, but the atmosphere of where I was running, including running over Otson Bridge during the last mile to get to the finish line at Hayward Field.
I loved seeing my friends, and I loved seeing the posters. My roommates were at like mile 2 because that's kind of where my house is, especially like being my senior year. I feel really thankful for the people I have in my life.
With Oregon Sports, I'm Sophie Fowler.
I did it. So proud. Yay!
That's absolutely incredible, Sophie. How are you walking right now?
You know, I got here really slowly, but I did it. Little sore, but thankfully not too bad.
Was that training just absolutely intense for you?
Yeah, this year I actually trained compared to last year where I didn't really train at all, and so it was pretty bad at some points, but I pushed through.
That's awesome. I know we're all proud of you.
Yes, we are. So congrats on finishing a true athlete here in the studio. Speaking of athletes, Oregon football saw a lot of names selected in this year's NFL draft. Which teams have a new duck on their squad? We'll let you know when we return.
There's nothing like celebrating a big play. But now, we're celebrating something bigger than sports.
Love, you're mine.
Love?
You're mine.
You're training your mind as much as you're training your body.
For me, just stay grounded. Be with the people who make my mental health better and not worse.
So when you see us hit this, it's a reminder to
love.
You're mine.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire, and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
The NFL Draft is where dreams come true for college football players who are ready to take that next step.
Over the weekend, 7 Ducks from the last year's team heard their names called. Let's see where they ended up.
Starting off first for Oregon football in the 7 draft picks, Kenyon Sadiq, first round for 16th pick to the New York Jets. He led the Ducks in receptions and was predicted to go in the top 10 in the draft, and he was 51 in athletic tight ends.
Next up, Dylan Thieneman, first round 25th pick by the Chicago Bears, who just recently won the NFC North. Thieneman had the game-sealing interception at Penn State. Then he was the second-ranked safety All-American and All-Big.
Up next, Emmanuel Pregnon went third round, 24th pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was third-ranked lineman in the draft and first-team All-Big Ten last year. Praise for finishing his blocks.
Thieneman's safety duo Jaden Kennedy was next up, selected by the Kansas City Chiefs in the 4th round at the 9th pick. Kennedy finished with 2 interceptions last year.
And then a local favorite, Bryce Betcher, 4th round, 35th pick to the Indiana Colts. He was an alumni of South Eugene High School and returned last year after being picked 13th round in the 2024 MLB draft to pursue the NFL.
Next up was Malik Benson, drafted by the Las Vegas Raiders, who will be teaming up with recent Heisman winner Fernando Mendoza. He was selected in the 6th round at the 14th pick, led the team in receiving yards this year with 719, and had second team in touchdowns with 6.
And last but certainly not least, Alex Harkey went 6th round, 25th pick to the LA Chargers. He was 10th ranked O-lineman in his first year at Oregon.
It had been 5 years since we last saw the Blazers in the playoffs. This year, a thrilling win in the play-in tournament matched them up with the San Antonio Spurs in the first round.
San Antonio took control of Game 1 and left home with the win, but Portland was able to steal one in San Antonio for Game 2. Heading back to Portland for Game 3, though, the Blazers blew a 15-point lead. Game 4 was a similar story next.
Yeah, Devlin, this has been a really fun show up until this point, but things take a little bit of a dark turn right now. The Blazers, they can't get over this playoff hump of theirs that they've had throughout their franchise's history. Double-digit 15-point leads, like you said, Devlin, in the third quarter of both games. The guard play was great throughout this whole series so far, I should say. Denny Avdia, Drew Holiday right here, putting the Blazers together, kind of keeping them in this game, branching that lead all the way to as much as 19 points in the first half, but right there before the half, De'Aaron Fox cuts the lead to 17, and from there it snowballed. The Spurs went on a 13-0 run straight out of the gate to start the second half. They got right back into this game, kept their foot on the gas, and held the Blazers at bay.
Really a complete tale of two halves. In the second half, San Antonio outscored the Portland Trail Blazers 73-35. Blazers really just did not give themselves a chance. Part of that was due to Donovan Clingan being really unable to stay on the floor with Victor Wembanyama's minutes, but also struggling with Luke Cornett.
Yeah, the matchup problem here with the front court, I should say, with this matchup is very tough for the Blazers. Donovan Clingan and Robert Williams have done a very good job matching up against Wembanyama defensively, but he's a guy that you can't keep quiet for too long. He's going to get his. Luke Cornett has come off the bench and played really well for this Spurs team in the minutes. Without Victor Wembanyama, went down with concussion protocol in the second game, missed Game 3 in Portland. The Spurs still rallied back behind their guard play of this guy right here, Stephon Castle, and it got a little chippy towards the end of this game. Denny Avdia wasn't having it right there with the ball being pushed into his chest from Stephon Castle, retaliated right there. We got things a little bit chippy right here, but the Blazers, they're still alive, only down 3 games, just down 3 games to 1. Still a chance to win this series in 7 games, but things have looked a little bit bleak over the weekend.
Certainly, if you can take one of these, really the only game you can take, Game 5 in San Antonio, you get to go right back home to Portland. And so that's a big opportunity for the Trailblazers.
And that'll do it for Blazers Talk. Game 5 on Tuesday between the Trailblazers and Spurs in San Antonio. Tip-off is set for 6:30 p.m. When we come back, another type of race is making its return to Hayward. Ashley and Lucas will tell you about it right after this break.
Adding your own flavor to fashion comes with age.
Okay, Dad, look at you.
Yeah, welcome. Hi.
Forgetting how to add doesn't. Finding it difficult to work with numbers may be a sign of Alzheimer's.
Dad, are you okay?
An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's. Some things come with age, some others don't.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed.
There's nothing like celebrating a big play. But now, we're celebrating something bigger than sports.
Love, you're mine.
Love?
You're mine.
You're training your mind as much as you're training your body.
For me, just stay grounded. Be with the people who make my mental health better and not worse.
So when you see us hit this, it's a reminder to
love.
You're mine.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Did you miss out on the Eugene Marathon but still want a chance to show off your running ability?
Even if you did, you may be in luck. If you scan this QR code on the screen, you can sign up for a costume relay hosted by Warsaw, a sports business club at the University of Oregon. The race is on May 8th, and contestants must arrive at 4:30 p.m. It is a 4x100 relay. The event will have 3 heats with 9 teams competing in each. Pick 3 of your fastest friends, get dressed up in related costumes, and show off your speed. Remember, space is limited. That's going to do it for us here on this week's edition of Oregon Sports.
A busy week for the city of Eugene. A lot of teams on the road next week, but we'll be right back. Lucas, Sophie ran that marathon. You think you'll be able to do that track meet next week?
You know what? I think I could. I think I'll dress up in the Incredibles suit as Dash, I believe his name should be. I'll get 2 friends and we'll dress up and maybe, see what we could do out there. How about you? Are you going to join in on that?
I'm not much of a runner, but I'm all for a good costume. So we might have to see where that takes us. But we'll be right back here next Monday to recap it all. Thanks for joining us. Take care.